Hi, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back again. This is Maths Paper 1, Kcse. It was done in November. So, before we go to the question, I will wish you to like the video, subscribe, and comment. Share to your friends, and let's learn together. So, let's go to question 1. Question says, solve for n. So, you have 6n divided by n minus 1 is equal to 25 out of n. The question carried 3 marks. So, basically, let's go to the solution. Basically, this question comes from the topic quadratic equations. It comes from the topic quadratic equation. So you can solve this you can solve this question using 3 different methods. Number 1 is using factorization. Number 2 is using quadratic methods or quadratic formula. Number 3 is completing the square methods. So basically you can use any of the 3 to solve the question, but it just depends on you, which one are you comfortable with. So for the sake of this video, we'll do the 3. So just choose the one you are comfortable with. You don't have to do using the 3 method in the exam room, but I'll do the 3 of them so that you can choose which one are you very comfortable with, then you go with that. So basically, let's go to the question. We have 6n out of n minus 1 is equal to 25 out of n. So basically what we do here, first we cross multiply. So you get 6n, you multiply by n, is equal to 25 into n minus 1. This will get 6n squared is equal to 25n minus 25. So from there, now you want to form a quadratic equation. A quadratic equation looks like this. Ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. So for our case here, we have n for the place of x. So what you need to do, you take this 25n on the other side of the equation and this negative 25 on the other side of the equation. So you remain with the left-hand side of the equation, you remain with 0. So you'll get 6n squared, because here is positive, when it comes on the other side of the equation, it becomes negative. So it becomes negative 25n. Then this one is negative, it will become positive, plus 25 is equal to 0. So yeah, if you have to ask me which one is A, I'll tell 6 is A, and negative 25 is B, and 25 is C. So we have formed the quadratic equation at that moment. So I want us to start with the first method, that is factorization. That is number 1, factorization. So as I've said before, you can solve this question using the 3 different methods. But let's start with the factorization. So in the factorization method, what you need to do is, let me first write the equation, that is 6n squared minus 25n plus 25 is equal to 0. So you look at 2 numbers that when you multiply them, they give you, you look at 2 numbers, when you multiply them, they will give you 6 multiplied by 25, this is 150. And when you add them, they will give you the b, that is negative 25. So you look on 2 numbers. When you multiply them, they give you 150. When you add them, they will give you negative 25. So the integers here, let me just help you. The integers here, that when you multiply them, they will give you 150. That is a multiplied by c, because this is basically a multiplied by c. The a is 6 and the c is 25. When you multiply 6 by 25, you get 150. So the integers here are supposed to be negative 10 and negative 15. When you multiply a negative by negative, you get a positive. So 10 by 15, you get 150. When you add negative 10 plus negative 10, you'll get negative 25. So these are the two integers that when you add them, they'll give you negative 25. When you multiply them, they'll give you 150. So basically what you do here, then you split this one now. You'll remain with 6n squared, let's say minus 10n minus 15n plus 25 is equal to 0. So you group them into pairs. So you find the common number between 6n squared minus 10. The common here, it will be 2n. When you open our brackets, 2n divided by 6n squared will remain with 3n minus 10n divided by 2n will remain with 5. Then here, the common here is, the common number here will be between negative 15n plus 25. The common here is, let's say the common here is, the common number is negative 3. Sorry, negative 5, sorry. Supposed to be 5. Negative 5. Open a bracket. You remain with, because it's negative, remain with 3n minus 5. Are we together now? Because you, when you take negative 5 divided by 25, you get negative 5. So this will become 2n minus 5. Then you open the other bracket, that is 3n minus 5. So between this one and this one, they're equal. So you pick one of them. Then you use this coefficient and this coefficient here. So you have formed an equation is equal to 0. So what this means is it either this one is equal to 0 or this one is equal to 0. So it is either the first bracket is equal to 0 or the second bracket is equal to 0. So you will take 2n minus 5 is equal to 0 or 3n minus 5 is equal to 0. So when you find the value of n here, you'll get 2n is equal to 5. Here 3n is equal to 5. So divide by, to remain with n, divide by 2 here, divide by 2 here. You remain with n is equal to 5 out of 2. Here also, divide by 3, divide by 3, so we'll get n is equal to 5 out of 3. So basically n is equal to, when you divide and make it a mixed fraction, you'll get 2.5, or when you do the same here, make it a mixed number, you'll get 1 and 2 out of 3. So these are the value of n. So the value of n by factorization method. The same question, we can solve it using quadratic formula. So the quadratic formula says minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac out of 2a. So basically, we have the quadratic equation, that is 6n squared minus 25n plus 25. So the b, a, and c, this one 6 resemble a, this one here is what we call b, and this one here is what we call c. Are we together? Because the coefficient with the n squared is what is a, with n is what is b, and the c is the one that is the value that lack coefficient. So basically, we come and take 6, negative 25, and 25. We fix it here, and we get the answer. I love the quadratic formula on my side. I think that's the simplest method. So basically, let's go to solve it. So we have negative b. So we'll take negative, and b itself is negative 25, plus or minus the square root of b squared, that is negative 25 squared, minus 4 multiplied by a, that is 6, multiplied by c, that is 25. Square root extends, divided by 2a, that's 2 multiplied by a is 6. So negative by negative, when two negative signs come together, we say they become positives, that is positive 25, plus or minus the square root of negative 25 squared, that is 625. When you have a problem, I think this you can use that, just the calculator to make very simple. Then 4 multiplied by 6 multiplied by 25, that one is minus 600 out of 2 by 6, that is 12. So let's deal with the square root sign, the square root part, sorry. You have 625 minus 600, that will remain with the square root of 25. So the square root of 25, that is 5. We're together here. So you'll remain with 25 plus or minus 5, because this is equal to 5. Plus or minus 5, sorry. Divide by 12. So it means the first answer, it will be 25 plus 5 divided by 12. And the second answer, it may be 25 minus 5 divided by 12. When you look here, you'll get 30 out of 12, and here you'll get 20 out of 12. When you simplify here, I'll make it a mixed fraction. We'll remain with 2 and a half, and here you remain with 1 and 2/3. Yeah, when you simplify here, you remain with 2 and a half, and here remain with 2/3. So this is the value of n. So n is either 2 and a half or 1 and 2/3. So if you compare, the answer with the factorization method is the same as the answer with the quadratic formula. Are we together now? That's the value of n.